Let's begin with this invocation. I will paste it into the chat window. Toward the One, perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. So this event is modeled after and inspired by a universal worship service. Now, what is a universal worship service? Simply put, it is a church for all, a service for followers of any religion or even no religion. Sufism emphasizes the unity of religions. Sufis believe that while individual religions emerge via an era of time, via a particular culture, and via specific people, their roots all draw upon the same eternal source, that which transcends all time, all culture, and all people. Hazrat Inayat Khan, the founder of this lineage of Sufism, likens the religions of the world to organs in the body of humanity, each one necessary. Naturally, if the organs of the body are at war with one another, this does not lead to health. Another metaphor he uses is religions are like notes, musical notes. Over here, you have the C major, over here, the A, the G, F sharp, etc. And if these notes are competing with one another to be the loudest, the most right, the most true, well, then you don't have music, you have cacophony. Likewise, it is not right for the G note to turn all the other notes to G. For to only have one note would not be music either. It would be incredibly dull. What is best is for each note to resonate its truth and to harmonize with each other. So universal worship service seeks to honor all religions and to foster tolerance, understanding, and love between all people. So what is my goal of this service? First, I'll tell you what is not my goal. I'm not here to proselytize at you or convert you to Sufism. I don't like it when people come at me saying their religion is the one true way, and I bet you don't like it either. I couldn't preach the one true way because I don't believe in a one true way. What resonates in my heart is we are all on our way. We are all on our unique path, which is perfectly suited to us, and all, whether quickly or slowly, will eventually return to our source. So today my goal is to honor 7 different faith traditions and to share wisdom tales, stories which I find incredibly inspiring and I hope will inspire you. And maybe, if we're lucky, we'll even leave a tad bit wiser. You can see the 7 different religions there on the altar. And the largest candle on the altar represents God. Well, before we get into the stories, I would love it if you'd join me for a song. The lyrics to this song are written by 13th century scholar, poet, and mystic Rumi. And I bet some of you know it already. Post it into the chat. Okay. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the sound. I'm gonna play the guitar anyway. I hope it doesn't sound too garbled. Maybe I'll play the guitar sort of quietly. And I hope it turns out all right. Someone just entered. I'm going to type the lyrics in the chat window again for this song. Okay. It goes like this, and you can listen maybe the first time through and then join if you'd like. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of living. Come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair, and it doesn't matter if you've broken your vow 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come yet again, come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of living. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come, and yet again, come. Sing the chorus again. And it doesn't matter if you've broken your vow 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come, and yet again, come, and yet again, come again, come, and yet again, come, and yet again, come again, come, and yet again, come. Well, I'm very excited to share 7 short tales from 7 different religions. A good story has the magical ability to bypass the rational mind and speak directly to the heart. These stories do just that. Joseph Campbell, the renowned scholar of mythology, says, I'm gonna put this quote in the chat. I think it's useful to see it. Myth opens the heart and the imagination to the wonders of the universe and the mystery of existence. Myth offers ways to contextualize the transcendent unknown within the conditions of the actual physical world. Myth sounds like a bridge, doesn't it? Here's another quote by Campbell. God is a metaphor for a mystery that absolutely transcends all categories of thought. Put another way, God is a mystery that absolutely transcends all categories of human thought. That's humbling, isn't it? To know in this lifetime that we will never come close, fully close at least, to comprehending our Creator. Doesn't keep us from trying, though, and these stories are beautiful efforts to understand not only the divine transcendent, but ourselves, the universe, and our place in it. Let's begin, naturally, with the oldest of all religions, the indigenous religions. In this incredible book, The World's Religions by Huston Smith, he calls these the primal religions, as opposed to what he refers to as the historical religions. Why this distinction? Well, the word primal comes from the word primary, meaning first. All humanity once lived in small tribes, and these early people did not have writing. Thus mythology and knowledge were passed down in the oral tradition. It was from this terra firma that the historical religions arose. Thus we see similar motifs in the indigenous myth and the Hebrew myth, like God creating man of clay, the soil, the earth. This particular example can be found in a myth from the Okanagan tribe of North America. It goes like this. The earth was once a human being. Old One made her out of a woman. You will be the mother of all people, he said. Earth is alive, but she has been changed. The soil is her flesh, the rocks are her bones, the wind is her breath, trees and grass are her hair. She lives spread out, and we live on her. When she moves, we have an earthquake. After taking the woman and changing her to earth, Old One gathered some of her flesh and rolled it into balls, as people do with mud or clay. He made the first group of these balls into the ancients, beings of the early world. The ancients were people, yet also animals. Some looked human, while some walked on all four, like animals. Some could fly like birds, others could swim like fishes. All had the gift of speech, as well as the greater powers and cunning than either animals or people. But deer, they were never among the ancients. They were always animals, even as they are today. Besides the ancients, real people and real animals lived on the earth at that time. Old One made the people out of the last balls of mud he took from the earth. He rolled them over and over, shaped them like humans, and blew on them to bring them alive. They were so ignorant that they were the most helpful of all the creatures Old One had made. Old One made people and animals into males and females so that they might breed and multiply. Thus, all living things came from the earth. When we look around, we see part of our mother everywhere. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light symbolically representing the indigenous religions. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the closeness of nature. Let's move on to Hinduism. This tale was spoken at a discourse of Hazrat Nai Khan, and therefore it includes some helpful commentary. There's an old Hindu belief found in the ancient myths of India that there is a tree which bears all the fruits that one can imagine. And if a person is under that tree, he has but to wish for what he would like. And in the same moment, all fruits, all flowers, everything that he can imagine, he will find brought forth by the tree as its fruits. There is a story about a wanderer who happened to sleep under that tree. After a good sleep, he opened his eyes, looked up at the tree. He thought, I suppose it must be a pear tree. No sooner had he thought that than two good ripe pears dropped near him. One might say a pair of pears. Oh, what a wonderful tree. If it were a grape tree, what a splendid thing it would be. As soon as he said it, the tree seemed full of grapes, and before he raised his hands, the branches bent low, and without any effort, he was able to pick the grapes. He thought, what a wonderful tree. He wondered if the tree would yield some roses. No sooner had he given a thought to it than the whole tree seemed to blossom into roses. This man became so surprised, so amazed and perplexed at this magical tree that he wondered if it was true or only a dream. As soon as he had the thought of a dream, he looked up at the tree and the tree vanished. This tree is the whole universe, a miniature of which is one own self. And there is nothing that you ask this universe that it will not answer, for it is the nature of the universe to answer your soul's call. Only if you ask for pears, there are pears. If one asks for a cactus, there are cactus. If you ask for the rose, there will be the rose and its thorns together. It is the lack of knowledge of this great secret hidden in the heart of the universe, which is the only tragedy of life. And at the same time, the end of the story solves the whole question of life, and that is, it is all there and nothing is there. If we think it is everything, it is everything. But if we realize that it is nothing, it is nothing. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light, symbolically representing the Hindu religion. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine wisdom. Has anyone ever said to you, it is what it is? I used to find that phrase rather meaningless and trite, but over time I've come to appreciate the phrase, it is what it is, because it says nothing, but it also says everything. Here is a Buddhist tale. There once was an old Zen farmer. Every day, the farmer used his horse to help work his fields and keep his farm healthy. But one day, the horse ran away. All the villagers came by and said, "We're so sorry to hear this. This is such bad luck." But the farmer responded, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" The villagers were confused, but decided to ignore him. A few weeks went by, and then one afternoon, while the farmer was working outside, he looked up and saw his horse running toward him. The horse was not alone. The horse was returning to him with a whole herd of horses. So now the farmer had 10 horses to help work his fields. All the villagers came by to congratulate the farmer and said, "Wow, this is such good luck." But the farmer responded, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" A few weeks later, the farmer's son came over to visit and help his father work on the farm. While trying to tame one of the horses, the farmer's son fell and broke his leg. Villagers came by to commiserate and said, "How awful. This is such bad luck." Just as he did the first time, the farmer responded, "Bad luck, good luck, who knows?" A month later, the farmer's son was still recovering. He wasn't able to walk or do any manual labor to help his father around the farm. A regiment of the army came marching through town, conscripting every able-bodied young man to join them. When the regiment came to the farmer's house and saw the boys broken leg. They marched past and left him where he lay. Of course, all the villagers came by and said, "Amazing! This is such good luck. You're so fortunate." And you know the farmer's response by now. Bad luck, good luck. Who knows? To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light, symbolically representing the Buddhist religion. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine compassion. Here's a very touching and mystical tale from Judaism. Moses once begged the Lord God of Israel on Sinai, "O Lord, thou hast so greatly honored me in making me thy messenger. If there could be any greater honor than that, thou should come to my humble abode and break bread at my table." The answer came, "Moses, with great pleasure we shall come to thy abode." Moses prepared a great feast and was waiting eagerly for God to come. There happened to pass by his door a beggar, and he said to Moses, "I am ill and weary. I've had no food for 3 days, and I'm at the point of death. Pray give me a slice of bread and save my life." Moses, expecting every moment a visit from God, said to the beggar, "Wait, O man, thou shalt have more than a slice, plentiful and delicious dishes. I am waiting for a guest who is expected this evening. When he is gone, all that remains I will give to thee." The man went away, time passed, and God did not come. Moses was disappointed. He went the next day to Sinai and grieved bitterly, saying, "My Lord, what sin have I, thy slave, committed that thou did not come as thou hadst promised?" God said to Moses, "We came, but alas, thou did not recognize us. Who was the beggar at thy door? It is we who in all guises live and move in the world, and yet are remote in our eternal heavens." To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light, symbolically representing the Hebrew religion. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine covenant. The next story comes from Christianity. If you grew up in the Christian faith, like I did, it will likely be new to you. That's because it's not from the Bible, but from the writings of the Gnostic Christians, considered the mystical branch of Christianity. This story is the archetypal hero's journey, which is leaving the comfort and safety of one's home, venturing forth into the dangerous unknown, seizing the treasure and bringing it home for the benefit of all. As I read this story, you'll hear a brother referenced several times throughout. And the brother in this tale is interpreted as symbolizing Christ. This is called the Hymn of the Pearl. When I was a little child, living in my father's palace in his kingdom, happy in the glories and riches of my family that nurtured me. My parents gave me supplies and sent me out on a mission from our home in the East. From their treasure house, they made up a cargo for me. They took off my bright robe of glory, which they had made for me out of love, and took away my purple toga, which was woven to fit my stature. They made a covenant with me and wrote it in my heart so I would not forget. It read, "When you go down into Egypt and bring back the one pearl that lies in the middle of the sea and is guarded by the snorting serpent, you will again put on your robe of glory and your toga over it. And with your brother, our next in rank, you will be our heir in our kingdom." I left the East and traveled down with my 2 royal guides. Since the way was dangerous and harsh, I was very young to walk alone. When I arrived into Egypt, my companions left me. I went straight to the serpent and settled close by him in an inn, waiting for him to sleep so that I could take my pearl. I was warned against the Egyptians and of contact with the unclean ones. Yet I put on a robe like theirs, lest they suspect me as an outsider who had come to steal the pearl, lest they arouse the serpent against me. Somehow they learned I was not their countryman, dealt with me cunningly, and gave me their food to eat. I fell into a deep sleep. I forgot I was the son of kings, and I served their king. I forgot the pearl for which my parents had sent me. And through the heaviness of their food, I fell into a deep sleep. When all these things happened, my parents knew and grieved for me, and all the kings and princes and nobles of the East wove a plan on my behalf so that I would not be left in Egypt. They wrote me a letter, and every noble signed it with their name. It read, "From your father, the King of Kings, and your mother, the Mistress of the East, and from your brother, our next in rank, and to you, our son in Egypt, peace. Awake and rise from your sleep, and hear the words of our letter. Remember that you are a son of kings, and see the slavery of your life. Remember the pearl for which you were sent into Egypt. Remember your robe of glory, and the splendid mantle which you may wear when your name is called in the book of life, when it is read in the book of heroes, and when you and your brother inherit our kingdom." Serving as messenger, the letter was a letter sealed by the king with his right hand. It rose up in the form of an eagle, flew and alighted beside me, and became speech. At its voice and the sound of its rustling, I awoke and rose from my sleep. I took it, kissed it, broke its seal, and read. The words were written on my heart in the letter for me to read. I remembered that I was the son of kings, and my free soul longed for its own kind. I remembered the pearl for which I was sent down into Egypt, and I began to enchant the terrible snorting serpent. I charmed him into sleep by calling the name of my father over him, and of my mother, the Queen of the East. I seized the pearl and turned to carry it to my father. Those filthy and impure garments I stripped off, leaving them in the fields, and went straight on my way into the light of our homeland in the East. My robe of glory that I had taken off and the toga over it were sent by my parents. I'd forgotten the robe's splendor, for as a child I had left it in my father's house. With regal movements, the robe spread toward me, urging me to take it. The love urged me to receive it, and I stretched forth and received it, and put on the beauty of its hues. I cast my toga of brilliant colors all around me. Therein I clothed myself and ascended to the gate of salutation and adoration. I bowed my head and adored the majesty of my father, who sent it to me. I had fulfilled his commands, and he fulfilled what he had promised. At the gate of his princes, I mingled with his nobles. My brother was happy through me and received me, and I was with him in his kingdom, and all praised him resoundingly. He promised that I would journey soon with him to the gate of the King of Kings, and with my gifts and my pearl, I would appear with him before our Father. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light, symbolically representing the Christian religion. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine self-sacrifice. The next two stories for Islam and Sufism are personal tales, anecdotes told by Hazrat Inayat Khan. Here's one from his childhood. He says, "My kinfolk were Muslim, and I grew up devoted to the Holy Prophet and loyal to Islam, and never missed one prayer of the 5, which are the daily portion of the faithful. One evening in the summertime, I was kneeling on the house roof, offering my prayers to Allah the Great, when the thought smote me. Although I had been praying so long, and with all trust, devotion, and humility, no revelation had been vouchsafed to me, and it was therefore not wise to worship him, the one who I had neither seen nor fathomed. I went to my grandfather and told him I would not offer any more prayers to Allah until I had both beheld and gauged him. There's no sense in following a belief and doing as one's ancestors did before one without knowing the true reason," I said. Instead of being vexed, my grandfather was pleased with my inquisitiveness. After a little silence, he answered, quoting a surah of the Quran, "We will show them our signs in the world and in themselves, that the truth may be manifested to them." He soothed my impatience, saying, "The signs of God are seen in the world, and the world is seen in thyself." These words entered so deeply into my spirit that from this time, every moment of my life has been occupied with the thought of the divine eminence. And my eyes were thus opened, as the eyes of the young man by Elijah, to see the symbols of God in all aspects of nature, and also in that nature which is reflected within myself. This sudden illumination made everything appear as clear to me as a crystal bowl or translucent jewel. Thenceforth, I devoted myself to the absorption and attainment of truth, the immortal and perfected grace. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light symbolically representing the religion of Islam. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine unity. Now we come to Sufism. So as we just heard, Inayat Khan grew up in a Muslim culture. He was not from the Middle East, but from India. When he reached maturity, Inayat Khan's spiritual teacher and guide told him that it was his destiny to venture forth and unite the East and the West. To show the world that the differences between East and West are fewer and less important than the similarities. And just as we perceive God as one, humanity is one in the eyes of God. And that's how he lived his life, traveling mostly in Europe and the United States and speaking with anyone who would listen, often large crowds. Here's a short story in the form of a discourse about his travels. I like to call this one Inayat Khan on the Seven Seas. Though we all know the seven seas, in reality, is just one ocean, right? He says, perhaps in one religion, there are candles lighted and there is a form of worship. And there is another religion, even a song is not allowed to be sung in the church. In another religion, they call out the name of God, pray to the Lord with movements. In another religion, they have put a statue of Buddha on the altar as a sign of peace. These are different expressions of devotion. The Sufi says, so long as there is real devotion, it does not matter in which way it is expressed. For him, it is the same. Once I was traveling from England to the United States, and on the ship on Sunday, there was a Protestant service, which I attended, and everyone thought I was a Protestant. Then there was a Catholic service, and when I went to the Catholic service, people began looking at me, doubting if I was Catholic or Protestant. After that, there was a Jewish service, and when I went, they began to think that if I was a rabbi, why did I go to all these services? To me, every one of these services was an expression of devotion. For me, they were not different. The form makes no difference. It is our feeling. When our feeling is right, if we are in the church or in the marketplace or in nature or our own house, we always will express our sincere devotion. Therefore, a Sufi's form of prayer is all forms of prayer. And in every form, he feels that exaltation, which is the principal thing to experience in religious life. For the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle the light, symbolically representing all those, whether known or unknown, have held aloft the light of truth through the darkness of human ignorance. We offer our reverence and gratitude for the light of the divine truth. If you wish, please join me for the prayer Khatum, posted in the chat. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly cometh from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide. Send us the peace of thy divine spirit and unite us all in thy perfect being. Amen. Let's have one more short song before we go, shall we? It's not too garbled to make it miserable, is it? Okay? It works? Okay. This is a very simple song, almost like a chant. Lyrics are in the chat window. May the Great Spirit grant you peace of mind. May the peace be there in all that you may find. May the peace be there in all you leave behind. May the Great Spirit grant you peace of mind. May the peace be there in all that you may find. May the peace be there in all you leave behind. May the Great Spirit grant you peace of mind. May the peace be there in all that you may find. May the peace be there in all you. Once more. May the Great Spirit grant you peace of mind. May the peace be there in all that you may find. May the peace be there in all you leave behind. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your hearts now and forevermore. Amen. Well, folks, that concludes our service. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found these stories useful, a wellspring of wisdom that you may draw upon. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.